Hello. Hey, does my audio sound reasonable to you guys? I'm using my laptop's built-in microphone. Hell yeah. Sweet. Well, welcome to the observatory. Sounds quiet. I wonder if I can turn it up. I cannot turn it up. Okay. Yeah, it's maxed out. Well, I'm gonna try to go closer to it. Oh. Yes, I love the Rasa too, although it was a little bit of a beast to get tip tilted, I will say. There's some cows in the field next to me getting it on right now. Good enough then. Excellent. Well, let me pick you guys up off the ground and I can show y'all a bit more of the spot. Hopefully this stuff stays connected reasonably well. My battery is running low. Plug in your PC. Oh no, mission critical. Must plug in the streaming computer. Oh. I won't let you die. Oh, we're so back. Okay. Sweet. Well, here's the Rasa, and there's the sunset at the moment. So this is the observatory we've been building, and I'm living out here. I'll be out here for, I don't know, a month or two, maybe 3 months, in the middle of nowhere. And we've got the 2 observatories right now, but we're going to be building some more soon. And currently, we're going to be shooting with my Rasa tonight, and I'm going to patch in the ASIair to this. And I've also got the RedCat on the AM3 in the corner, and there's Ian's telescope right there. And this is the streaming setup. I'm using a Microsoft Imaging Edge, and I'm window capturing it on OBS. And somehow, miraculously, it's working. I was really afraid I wasn't going to be able to get this working tonight in time, because I realized streaming with the Sony cameras is actually a little complicated, but we figured it out. Anyways, with this camera, I'll actually be able to stream the Milky Way and the stars and everything else. So it's going to be very cool tonight. I'm going to put you guys up on a better tripod spot. Just give me a moment while I put this tripod in extendo mode. Okay. Eventually this thing's going to start hunting for focus like a madman. Alright, not too shabby. What's the name of the observatory? Our name is Starfront Observatory. Starfront Observatories, plural, technically. But yeah, we're gonna have a nice long night of imaging tonight. I'm gonna be staying up pretty much all night. I don't know how long I'm gonna stream for, but we will see. Yeah, it looks comfortable until you see the amount of mosquitoes that are coming for me. We had a storm last week, and it's made for a lot of new mosquitoes, and it's been not very fun out here, but I've literally lathered myself in bug spray. I'm honestly kind of asking for it, being dressed in shorts and a Hawaiian shirt. I'm basically an easy meal out here. But tonight we're gonna be doing a lot of shooting. I've got again the Rasa here, and I have a RedCat in the background, and we're gonna do a little bit of M101 to start the evening, and then I got a little bit of Veil Nebula data last night, so I might just finish off with the Veil, but it should be a good one. And again, if you guys have any questions about astro, observatory stuff, astronomy, feel free. Yeah, I can't escape the bug bites either. I think I've got that special blood type that they just love. I'm gonna go ahead and share this to the old Instagram. Have you started setting up customer rigs yet? Yes. Yeah, we've got a CDK 12.5 in the other room, and my buddy Ian's telescope right here. So, customers and friends. I'm gonna smile for a second for the for my screenshot. Fuck, didn't work. Dang it. I got it. Easy. But yeah, it's you guys are gonna see that it is very, very, very dark out here. It's definitely Bortle 1. And last night, the funny thing is, it was slated as mostly cloudy, literally the whole night, but I probably got a good 4 hours of exposure time in. And yeah. It's super dark, and I decided I had to get a Rasa because I'm sick of not shooting. Sorry, I'm sick of having slow telescopes and tons of exposure time. All my fast telescopes, I technically only have one other fast telescope, which is my 106, and that is in Chile now, so can't use that here. Had to get something else, and this thing has been nice. I put a photon cage here on this, so you can see the all that fancy stuff on the front. That lets me do tip tilt, and it was absolutely necessary to be able to tip tilt, because otherwise it just would be straight up unusable. But the tip tilt with the photon cage made it possible. A couple of friends are sending some equipment. Sharpstar SCA your way in about 3 weeks. You may visit them as we plan to drive down from Chicago. Well, I'm excited to have y'all out here to deliver the scope. If this first observatory turns out well, have you thought of other locations you'd want to make another observatory? Yes. Yes, plenty of others. It is a challenge, though, because we're trying to do stuff that's at scale and not small. And doing stuff at scale remotely is very difficult in most locations. But yeah, if this goes well, I definitely want to do more. Eventually, Southern Hemisphere would be really cool. I have a couple places in mind, mostly Western Australia, like outside of Perth. But again, that's kind of like a distant dream at the moment. But there are other locations in the US we'd want to go to as well. What do you have on the front of the Rasa for tilt? I've got a photon cage. You know, we might also have a shot at seeing some red sprites tonight because there is a thunderstorm way to the south. Hopefully we get some of those. That would be very rare. How did you all get the money to make all these observatories? By selling drugs. And where is this now? This is in central Texas between the towns of Coleman and Brady. So it's Bortle 1. It's basically like, it's very close to the geographic center of Texas, kind of on the border between the desert plain and the oak trees, like just where it starts to get dry. Anyways, some stars are starting to come out now, which is exciting. Let me try moving the camera up. This is my my first time doing a stream with a camera like this, so if I suffer any technical issues, bear with me. I think it's probably high time to flip the lens to manual focus here. Yeah, we got some stars coming out. Yeah, it's a photon cage. At each pier, Webcams, I don't think it's going to be practical. Definitely not IR. IR would be a living nightmare to deal with. So I think we may have 4 inside here, but it'll be long exposure cameras. And then apart from that, I just ordered a Raspberry Pi and a ZWO camera for our all sky. So I'm going to try one of the ZWO cameras with the Raspberry Pi automatically as an observatory floor camera. And then if I mount it above the doorway, it should have a reasonable view everywhere without blocking any of the telescopes. So that's the plan at the moment, is just to smack one on top. It's almost go time. Yeah, if we had IR webcams in here, it would be a literal nightmare because everyone would be turning them on and ruining everyone else's shot, which we obviously don't want. With a bajillion telescopes in here, that would be no good. I'm gonna drop my stream link on Twitter as well. Passive IR. Oh, not like IR illuminator, but infrared sensitive cameras. That's a good question. I did not consider that. I mean, aren't all the ZWO cameras full spec? IR sensitive sensor, yeah. Yeah, maybe I'll just pop a monochrome ZWO in here for the floor camera. You just did a full mock remote run through last night of the rig. Hell yeah, I'm excited. What rig are you sending? Player 1 Neptune C for an all-sky camera, opening a place at the base of the pier. Oh yeah, that could be cool. Like if you had one just off of the pier, that would make for some cool time lapses. I really like my friend Jacob Saunders' little setup doohickey he has in Spain, where he has like a fisheye time lapse camera, but it's mounted onto his dovetail so you can see where the scope is pointing at all times. And those time lapses are always really cool. Starting to see Vega, Arcturus. Trying to find the camera. I was thinking about sending. There are some webcams with sensors that do not use IR illuminators. Good to know. Pegasus Power Box gets here tomorrow. A few more nights of test runs. Are you using a RASA, Matt? I'm very much enjoying F2. It's great. I burned my one good night though, which was 2 nights ago. We had like a perfectly clear night, and I spent the whole time shooting new nebulas that didn't exist because I just love shooting at nothing. And so I burned up a whole good night by doing that. Last night we had high clouds come in around 1:30 a.m. So I got a little bit, but not enough for a finished image. And tonight it's supposed to be totally clear, so hopefully we're going to finish up at least one good deep sky image using the RASA tonight. I mean, if you don't have any issues in your star corners, Matt, it's almost like there's no reason. But it just depends whether or not your sensor has tip tilt straight off. Where am I located? Right now we're in central Texas, close to the geographic center. Between the towns of Brady and Coleman. It's Bortle 1 out here, very dark, which you will see very shortly. Because we are just chilling, waiting for the dark. Will Ethernet run to each pier? Yeah. We'll have Ethernet at each one. So, I mentioned earlier, tonight's targets, I've got M101 on the schedule for the start of the night, and then Vale on the second half of the night. And I've got a RedCat 61 with a 183 behind me that I don't know what it's going to do for most of the night. So if you have any target requests for a 183, little tiny wide field chip, then let me know. We can try shooting some public requests. Definitely starting to see more stars out here. I think it's time to turn down my brightness on my screen. And I might put F-Lux on. With F2 and Bortle 1, how much integration would something like Vale take? I'm guessing not very long. No, not very long at all, but I just want something really, really, really good. So I'm still going to spend a lot of time on it. You're thinking of stacking a small refractor with the 533 mono on top of the Sharp Star. Should be a neat setup. What mount are you using? Thinking about saving up for the 85 FSQ. My FSQ 85 is great. I have no issues with mine. So I honestly love the stars that are on the FSQ systems. I do have problems with my FSQ 106 though. It does have some issues. I can't capture Starship from here, sadly. I'm about 8 hours away from it. Is there room for battery backups? There should be. I honestly don't know how big a battery backup is because I've never used one in my life. I'm assuming they're not gigantic. So that answer is probably not great, but 'tis the only one I have. I'm going to download F-Lux for my streaming PC. I might have to just throw a cover on the screen in a little bit, and I'm going to try and stream like totally in the dark. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Oh man. I'm not going to restart my computer. Later. Oh yeah, we're going dark. Yeah, backup power options are definitely something on our mind. We do have backup batteries for the roofs. So like if there's a power outage or the weather's bad and then we need to close the roof, we do have backup batteries on the way to just shut it automatically, which is absolutely super duper critical for remote. An Anchor C1000, interesting. Yeah, I mean, no matter what way you cut it, faster is better, and it always is. People always say sometimes, like, oh, we need a faster telescope for the worst skies because then you can make use of them. But still, if you, it's always better to have a faster telescope. Watch out for rattlesnakes. I always am, trust me. I'm mostly worried about scorpions because I have had to kill a number of them. Last night there was one that basically sprinted at my feet, and he almost got me, and I was wearing open-toed shoes, so it was really scary. Yeah, solar is another thing we're thinking of. Why do you use the Rasa? They have awful diffraction spikes. They actually only have awful diffraction spikes if you cable route it wrong. I have a curved cable router on mine, so I don't get any diffraction effects. And the stars honestly look pretty good. Centralized backup. Yeah, I mean we'll have a centralized backup eventually, but power outages are like they're very rare already. At most remote observatories I've had, it's pretty much like a once a year event, maybe once or twice. So again, it's not something huge to worry about. All right, I'm gonna find a laptop cover so I can button my stuff up. All right. Y'all have been covered up. Starting to get good. It's looking pretty nice. There's Gemini over the sunset. And there is Scorpius coming up. I'm glad I got this sorted to live stream because I'm not sure I've ever seen anyone live stream with the Sony before, and it's going to be great. Maybe if we're lucky, we'll get a little meteor. All right. I do believe it is about time that we start imaging. And I think I've got everything connected here. Just gonna zero out my mount, and then I'm gonna be running everything off the ASIair, which I am going to put up on OBS in a second once I get it going. Or actually, we will. Let me try putting it up on OBS now. Do you crate your scopes when you ship them? If it's a small refractor, no, there's no reason. I've never shipped a scope in a crate. Hey, Lucas, I will live here for a little while. I think 3 to 4 months. So I think we're in the same boat now for a little bit. But I almost have a first light from Deep Sky Chili, Lucas. There's some exciting ones coming up. I have a little collab image with Matthew Ludgate coming up, and I have a new supernova remnant I've been working on from Deep Sky Chili and Hawkos for over a year now. I'll give you a little bit of a teaser for it. The supernova remnant we're working on right now, it's 8.5 degrees long, and it is the largest supernova remnant to ever be discovered by amateurs, and also the highest galactic latitude supernova remnant ever discovered, I think, period. So it's been over a year we've been exposing on this, and I should be done this month with that photo. And half of it will be from Deep Sky Chili. So it's going to be super exciting. If you're looking for information about the observatory, where it is, check the link in the description. We're basically in the geographic center of Texas. Nice. DFW is not too far from us. Have you had any issues with fire smoke at the observatory, or is it unnoticeable? The first week I was here, we had a little bit of smoke from Mexico, but after that, we haven't had any smoke issues here. So it's been good, which you guys are definitely going to see in a couple of minutes. Okay, let me pop open the old OBS here, and I'm going to add in my other view. Oh, what the heck? I'm sorry, guys. I didn't know my window got minimized somehow. Y'all should have let me know my window got tiny. Is it because I moved it? Dang. All right. Good luck with the scorpions. Thanks. Yeah, I think I might need more tip tilt eventually. Is FSQ 106? Yeah, it's considered smallest tier for the 106. The 106 is a very tubby little telescope, so it will belong to that tier. Oh man, I don't know if I can actually show you guys my ASIair screen. I should be able to. I have my ASIair in station mode. Yeah, okay, we can do it. It can be done. I'm just booting into my handy dandy MacBook here. I think we need a new window capture here. Bear with me, y'all. Okay. There we go. So now, get this. Boom, ASIair screen. I'm a professional streamer now, guys. It only took 2 laptops and a bunch of troubleshooting. We'll just keep that window up at the top right. Rasa 8 is a small, but if there's a giant dew shield, it does complicate things. I'm getting a dew shield for mine, so we'll be able to see. How does the exposure look on my face? Do I need to bump the ISO more crazy? All right, let's sending your equipment to me tomorrow. Exciting. I am very excited to start getting some telescopes in here. Don't want auto run. I want to focus. Yeah, we're gonna crank the heck out of the ISO in a bit. I think my Rasa might be a tiny little bit out of collimation, but hey, it's nothing a little BlurX can't fix. I went too far. I do really like the ASIair's autofocus routine because it's very backlash invariant. I don't know why this thing wants to keep that window open. Get out of here. Okay. All right, so on the schedule for the start of the night, we're doing a little M101. I think we should just send it. I'm going to cover up my laptop screen in a second so that we can really get a clean view. Tonight's best. Do not care. Give me M101, please. What are you doing with shipping the original boxes that people send? So we aren't going to store any boxes here because it's super remote and we would have to build like a whole extra building to hold on to boxes. So if you want to keep a box, you can just send it with the return label and it'll be still a lot cheaper to send the box back empty. I wrote up a shipping fact about this in the boxes the other day. So all that information should be covered. But yeah, if you have a hard case or any boxes you want back, then they must come with a return label. Because we can't really build another building just to hold on to boxes. All right, we're going to get into focus here. Were you still regular going out with a telescope in person before coming to the observatory? So and so. I've done less and less observing in person as time has gone by, honestly. And if I had a backyard, I would do it every night, but I just don't. I've lived in apartments like the last couple years, so I legit haven't had a backyard. And not having a backyard is basically the worst thing that can ever happen for someone doing astrophotography. Because it means you can barely do it without a backyard. Man, this this autofocuser is a lot of fun trying to get this thing dialed when it just wants to be at the 0 position. I definitely need to calibrate this. Okay, that's good enough. Let's get the auto guider going and we'll start getting some photos. Oh yeah, it's gotten real dark. There we go, much nicer. Why aren't you just using autofocus? Because it will hunt forever and ever. Oh, you mean on my telescope? Because off the rip, it's a little too far out, and it's just faster for me to get it close before going any further. I would rather just do it myself and then let it autofocus on the auto run than have to sit here and wait for 2.5 minutes. And I do believe it is fully astro dark right now, which is really great. Yeah, the duo definitely fits in the circle. You can see the guide stars are a tiny little bit wonky, but hey, that's good enough for me. I don't even watch my guiding, honestly. For location in East Central Georgia that is Bortle 3, is it worth setting up an all-sky camera? It doesn't matter what the sky condition is. If you want to see the whole sky, then get an all-sky camera. It doesn't need to be a certain level of goodness to set one up. That is up to you. An interesting note about sky flats. You see this roof behind me? That's the roof of building 2, but I actually shot, oh, you can see the building 1 roof as well. I shot flats off of the white painted outer portion of our roof. I turned on our LEDs and I just pointed my Rasa straight at it, and that's how I did my flats, just off the wall. And it's kind of like how a professional observatory would do dome flats. So, just food for thought. This might be a solution that works well. You can see my HEM27 is going absolutely sicko mode right now with my auto guiding. I need to get a new mount because this thing is the worst with stiction and backlash. But usually it'll settle itself out if I keep the aggression low enough. Anyways, let's get some subframes in. What do you say? We'll pull up a little auto run here and get to it. So I'm going 2-minute exposures because it's super dark here and I can, so why not? What is the Wanderer flip flat? The one thing that's bad about flip flats is they greatly increase the space a telescope takes up, which I'm not a fan of, personally. Can we mount a webcam on the mount? We're going to have observatory floor cameras, so you'll be able to see, and if you lose home, then we'll have those webcams for you, and in the daytime we can also just manually home stuff back. So, not to fear. Well, now my viewfinder on my Sony is the brightest light in here. It's actually the only light that's illuminating anything. Open position goes all the way 300 degrees. That's good that it goes to 300 degrees, but there's still, the flip flat has to go from here to there and then all the way back down. So even at this angle, like, to consider the flat would open and impact would be possible. It's a thought that I don't like. I mean, if people were stringent about the position they open up their flat panels in, like if you always pointed at zenith to do flats, then that's something that could work. But even having the potential of impact is not good. So scopes with flip flats will take up a fair amount more space. All right, we are focused. Should I play ambient space music? Would that set the vibe for you guys? Have fun at Cherry Springs. It is pitch black in here. I cannot see anything. I think I can start pumping down the exposure time here. We'll go 1/15. Yeah, 1/15 of a second. So as you can see, it's quite dark. quite dark out here, guys. When all the lights are off, I really cannot see where I'm walking. Yeah, I'm just gonna be chilling and reading the chat here. Yeah, flip flat actuated at zenith is not a problem to me. I honestly, I want to design my own flip flat somehow that does not take up as much space. Oh, do we have a satellite? Sorry. Whenever I get my face close to the viewfinder, it absolutely blows everything out of the water. Wow. It is dark out here. Oh yeah, I could have it open downwards, but then I cannot see. I can't see focus or myself. That's fine. I'm gonna text my buddy Ian that it is clear and that he should use his scope. I designed my own. It's a piece of cake to do with the all attack driver and the hobby RC servo. Yeah, it seems like it's honestly most of them are way overpriced, so it would be good to make I would like to make one that's just super cheap. It would also be cool to make one that's I don't know if this would be feasible, but to make one like the Verisi Rubin filter slider where it wouldn't take up any extra space and it would just like slide off the top of the scope. I don't know if that would be possible, but that's honestly part of my motivation is something that doesn't take up a whole lot of space. And you can see my iOptron going absolutely crazy accurate on my tracking. Psych. Oh wow, my audio quality is so bad. I'm gonna get a mic soon. Maybe tomorrow I'll go get one. I'm gonna get a mic soon. Maybe tomorrow. Yeah, reliability is a struggle. I mean, even Optech seems to struggle with reliability because my flip-flats always lose connection, and they can never report their state properly. Anyways, you guys should start seeing the Milky Way in a bit. Starting to see the band come up. We are at Bortle 1, according to the map. We've been waiting for the darkest night we can to try and get that Bortle 1 reading. But I can say it's very dark. Very, very dark. There's basically no light domes on the horizon in any direction. There's a very small one from the town of Rockwood and a really, really tiny one from Brady. But they don't extend past like 5 or 10 degrees. On the ASIair front, the thing is, like, in order to properly use ASIair remotely, you need a PC to be able to send your files out. So at that point, if you're already sending a mini PC and ASIair, you might as well just keep the ASIair and use the mini PC because you're going to have to send it anyways. And if you just learn how to use it, it won't be too hard at all. Nina is pretty simple to use, and we're going to put together some resources for people to help ease you in. Then you can keep your ASIair at home and still have it. Yeah, Bortle 1 is very, very difficult to actually get on the SQM sensor, I will say. Like, it's super sensitive even to like zodiacal light or other things. Air glow, you kind of have to get a lot of things right to actually pull off a Bortle 1 reading. Yeah, Nina is great. You'll have a good time with it. I don't think it's the Unihedron. I'm not sure. I can go try to find our SQM. I don't know what the hell a Bortle is, but I'm here for it. Honestly, me neither. I didn't really know what SQM numbers meant until like very recently because it hasn't been something I've thought about. I just go to wherever it's black on the Bortle map if I'm doing a road trip, and then I shoot from there. I haven't really gone to a image from bad skies. And if I'm going remote, then you know, it's just dark already. So I've been privileged enough to not have to worry too much about Bortle scale. Wow, okay. My PC is trying to update. That was close. It would have updated itself without me knowing. I'm going to make my ASIair screen a bit smaller here. I do not know how to live stream, man. Alright, we're going to put this thing on the bottom left. maybe bottom right for now. Dark Sky Labs won't install a sensor. I don't think they charge. Interesting. Yeah, right now I am mostly sorting out the webcam or the all sky camera. Those are my next priorities. I got a ZWO, whatever their new number model color camera is, with the little fisheye, and I got a Raspberry Pi, and that's going to be our all sky camera. And I think I'm not even going to deal with weather sealing on the all sky camera. I'm just going to have it inside the observatory building, probably on the north wall, upper corner. I'm just going to screw mount it to the wall. And that'll be our all sky solution. All right, shall I step the ISO up another notch? I do think it's time. Yeah, the whole weatherproof case thing, I don't like the idea of having to deal with that. Let me pop the camera off here. And I think I can show you guys the zodiacal light right now. I just need to move a pier out of the way here. Ugh. I am going to continue my live feeds, I hope. If it goes well. I gotta be able to show off the skies somehow, you know what I mean? What better way than to do it live? Ooh. Alright, if I really crank the exposure, there's some air glow. Yeah, this lens is a bit too zoomed in to really see the zodiacal light. If I turn like this, there, now you can see the zodiacal light. Little corona berenices, I think. Right there. Oh, there's a satellite going through it right now. So there's our small light dome down there, and you can only see it because of the tiny little cloud band. And one there from Pullman. But it is definitely dark. I can see a bit of air glow too. And there's the Milky Way core coming up. Also, our roof right now, it goes back like 16 feet, but we're going to back it up further in a month, just to make the sky visibility better from everywhere. There you can see a little Rho Ophiuchi, just barely. I'm hoping we'll see a firefly in a moment. And there's a small chance we could get red sprites over in the south tonight. And here's the Rasa doing its thing. And there's a RedCat in the corner. We've got there's a CDK right there. And here's my friend Ian's telescope. He is not imaging right now, but I texted him to get on it because he's wasting light. Yeah, that zodiacal light is very bright. Maybe we can get a bit of Geigen shine if I go in the right spot. You never know. Now I gotta try and get this thing back in the tripod shoe. Oh, I hear a telescope going in the other observatory. It's looking tasty. And not much out there besides cemeteries. No, it's that is the nature of the remote observatory. Not much out there. That is the one consistent thing you can rely on at an observatory location. Yeah, it's my friend Ian Lauer's setup. Yeah, Lucas is right. They actually have, I think you guys have a Unistellar and another one down at Deep Sky Chili, so it is possible. And I would say if you want to send one, go for it. We will find a place for it to go if you want to send one out, for sure. And those things, honestly, they take up zero space. So I don't want to say anything solid, but we might actually be able to do it at a better price. Just because they're so small, there's no reason why one couldn't squeeze in somewhere. But yeah, we'll if you got it, we'll host it. The zodiacal light's looking pretty incredible. Any tips on catching the M2403 nebula? I just got a mono ASI, f2.8 newt. How much exposure will I need? That's a great question. The M2403 nebula is honestly it has a high surface brightness, The only reason why it wasn't really noticed is because it's buried in all that starlight. So I would go probably for like at least 15 hours of O3. Again, this depends on how dark your skies are, but maybe 15 hours will do ya. And make sure you get RGB so you can do a continuum removal because you're going to need it. Because that thing is hidden by all of that diffuse starlight. Once you continuum subtract it, it'll stand out like a sore thumb, but without it, you'll never be able to process it. I think you would need, like Lucas said, with a little mini PC and an emulator, you should be able to do it. It's the same control issue that you would have with the ASIair to automate something. Like with the ASIair or a smart telescope, you would need to run a PC with an emulator app, and you would need a USB connection to download your files off of the computer. But that's it. Looks like we got some nice air glow bands going on up here. Let me take a little peek at our M101 data. And again, I've got another telescope here to run. So if you guys have any target requests for a wide field rig, then go ahead and lay them on me. But if I don't get any requests, I'm definitely going to do Rho Ophiuchi for sure. The RASA data is looking pretty nice. I'm going to post another update to my story now that the stars are out. I've got a bug on my neck. Last night there was a scorpion that sprinted at me with its stinger. It had its stinger out, and it was like pre-aiming it. It was pre-firing its stinger while running at me. And I was wearing open-toed shoes. We are definitely closed-toed tonight, but needless to say, I'm on edge right now. Enjoy the clouds and the sleep, Lucas. I am definitely looking forward to some clouds so that I can go to sleep. I've been staying up all night the last 2 or 3 nights. It's been a lot. Remember when you said you would rank all NGC objects in a tier at 100k subs? No. Actually, yes, I do remember. I'll just say right now, I'll rank them in order. From NGC 1 to NGC whatever it is. Yeah, we're in Texas right now. Close to the geographic center. What are we looking at today? We're doing a little... Sorry, I left my ASIair on a dumb window. We're doing a little M101. And then we're going to do a little Veil. Or maybe Rho. Maybe a little Rho Ophiuchi. I'm not sure. Which do you guys want to do? You want to do Rho or Veil? A good mount for the C6 or C8 for lunar and planetary. I think most mounts would do fine for that. Even like an AVX would work. It really depends on your price range, honestly, for planetary. An EQ5 would work, an EQ6 would work. An AM3 and AM5 would also work. You got a lot of options because those scopes aren't so big that you need something heavy. Looks like Ian is getting on his grind. I don't know if you can hear that. It's a CM70 in the background. Iris Nebula. You know, the Iris Nebula would be fair because it would show off the darkness. However, it is not as eye-grabbing as Rho. Can you detect a black hole from your telescope? We can detect the remains of a black hole, like O3 Boschok Nebula or active galactic nuclei nebula. We could see the remains of what a black hole has done. The freedom that you can image and live stream under Bortle 1 without visual astros telling you to cover your screen. Yeah, I know, seriously. Although, right now, in the next couple weeks, is probably the only time I'm going to be able to live stream inside the observatory floor, because once we have telescopes in here, I'm not going to be able to do this. I'll probably have to set up a little live streaming station outside of the observatory building. Rho Ophiuchi is big. It is big, but that's what we got the wide field scope for. Are you imaging anything tonight? Oh yeah, every night. Right now in the bottom corner of my screen, you can see my ASIair view, where I am doing my imaging right now. So that's our Rho framing. It's pretty good. We got the important stuff in there. It would be very mosaicable, I will say. But I really just want to, I want to start getting some more deep time on some targets, because I wasted a whole night chasing new nebulas that weren't really there. I have a ASI 183. Are we allowed to know what you're imaging or keeping it a surprise since it might be a new discovery? I was trying to do a more public discovery process. Actually film like the whole intro for YouTube for it because I thought I found something 2 days ago. And I was going to share where it was and everything and like following along the process, but it didn't turn out. And not all of them turn out because that's kind of the nature of the beast when you're looking for these things. But tonight I'm doing M101 and then we might hit a little Rho. We might do Veil. We've got some options. You know what, F2, I could try doing the Nerades again. Might have to wait a month or two for that. I'm really excited to do a Andromeda from out here. Yeah, I have the helium filter with me. My plan is to put that on the RedCat, but the problem is I have to set up my 3D printer and print a filter holder for it, because the filter itself is literally like 6 millimeters thick and it won't screw on into my filter wheel because it's unmounted. So I got to figure that out first, and then I'll give it a rip on the helium front. I also need a new filter set because I have a 6200 with me, but it's just I have no filters for it, and all the ASIair filters are out of stock. Just my luck. Yeah, we do have lots of pillars or piers at the observatory. These will all be filled, but they won't be, they'll be by individual users or customers. So it's up to each person what they want to look at with their telescopes. If they all decided they wanted to look at one thing in unison, which would be great, we may actually work on organizing that at some point, then I'm sure we could accomplish quite a bit. But yeah, we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. But yeah, it would be super cool. I think I'm going to make a Discord tomorrow, and we'll start building like a bit more community around the observatory, and then I think it would be really fun to get like 100 telescopes on one target, because you can do some pretty exciting things with that many telescopes. Yeah, Bortle 1 is it is lovely. Let's get you guys closer to the milk. What do you say? Yeah, it would be super crazy to have all those telescopes going at once. It would probably sound insane. Bortle 1 is nuts, I will say. I have got to adjust my OBS. There we go, much better. Yeah, the amount of time you gain being at Bortle is pretty nuts compared to Bortle 9. I need to grab some water. So I might head to my RV and get a little bit in a second. Oh, Ian is slewing. We're slewing in here. Alright. I'm going to leave you guys with some ambient space music. Let's see. Ambient space. Space Ambient 2023. Hell yeah. And I'm going to get some water. I'll be right back. My laptop cover just fell off. Get back on there. The ambient space sounds just sound like the Terminator sound effect. Oh, thank goodness. I'm going to look for a USB mic as well. And I'll get some water. BRB. Hello, hello. Guess who's back? Ooh. We're gonna try to figure out this audio problem together, you and me. Maybe we won't. Ah, my scope almost meridian flipped into me. I looked for my blue snowball mic, and I couldn't find one. Alright, we're gonna put the space ambient back on, and I'm gonna play it louder this time. Wow. It really noise cancels that music out perfectly. When you roll up to the site with the takeout from Sonic, you can eat it right away because polar alignment is done. That's a vibe. I don't know about you, but I like cracking a cold one. This is a Dr. Pepper 0 calorie, not an alcoholic beverage. I hope we catch a meteor in a bit. That would be sick. You guys want to see the view at Zenith? Man, that sounded so bad. I'm sorry about the audio situation. I'm definitely going to be getting a USB mic. Not much cool stuff at Zenith right now. Maybe if you guys ask nicely, there'll be a meteor. Alright, back to the Milky Way. Back to the good stuff. Oh, and I can actually show you guys the piers and stuff now. Man, that looks so sick. Got a little troubleshooting to do. One moment. Sweet. And my Rasa is not doing too hot with autofocus right now. Sweet, okay. I don't know how well you guys are going to be able to, but I will, hello. Okay, so if I yell, you guys can actually hear me. Okay, so what I've got all around me in a minefield are small piers for our telescopes, and each one of these is going to have a small refractor on it at some point soon in the next month. We have a couple of these left in the first two buildings. We're going to be building a bunch more buildings in a month. But yeah, eventually this thing is going to be pretty chock full of telescopes just like mine, and people will be able to log in and run their telescopes from these and take photos of space. So that's the whole idea. You can see behind me the Milky Way is starting to come up, but these piers, these are little steel piers. You just bolt these into the concrete foundation and then telescope goes on top. So pretty simple. Gotta move some of those out of the way for y'all. Yeah, there's not a lot of planes out here. I've not seen very many at all. I do see a couple of red eyes, like early morning, but that's about it. Yeah, it is. It's very cool. Um, Being up all night takes a toll on you. I will say, I've been up all night for the last 3 evenings, and it's been rough. It's been very rough. Takes a toll on the body. Anyways, I'm gonna get my telescope in focus here, and then I'll talk a little bit about what I'm shooting and what the rest of the plan is for tonight. Yeah, exactly. Remote observing lets you actually stay sane because there's absolutely no way you could travel shoot every night, especially in the summer in the desert. You will actually destroy your body. All right, let's pull up the old OBS here. I'm gonna make this guy a little bigger, but try to not cover up any of the nice Milky Way action. All right, so what we're working on now is this galaxy is called Messier 101, which is Messier's 101st. Discovery. Although it's kind of weird, I don't know if you would count them as discoveries, but the way that Messier used the list is more of like a list of what not to look at than a here's all the things I discovered kind of list. So Messier probably discovered more things, but on his catalog list, this would be the 101st entry. And it's a grand design spiral galaxy. It's close to the handle of the Big Dipper, which I can't show you right now because we're looking straight at the Milky Way core, but it's off to the north somewhere. And it's a really nice galaxy to look at. And probably one of the more popular ones to look at during galaxy season because this thing is comparatively really large. This time of year right now, like early May, early June, you could technically call it's known as galaxy season. And galaxy season is just the time of year which the night sky shows the area in between both Milky Way arms, the winter arm and the summer arm. And so you don't really see anything except for galaxies and stuff that's far away from the Milky Way. And so a lot of these things are small and they're hard to shoot with a wide field telescope, but this object, M101, gives a little bit of a break to the smaller telescopes because you can still get some interesting detail given its size. And it does have quite a large extended halo around it, a faint one. It has some, faint tidal arms around it, which are details that you can actually get if you have dark skies and you're able to put in the exposure time. There's some interesting things to see. So, a cool object for sure. I'm going to flip my Sony screen down there. I was getting a little bit of a light casted straight onto my Rosso there. That was not ideal. But yeah, this is what we're doing right now is basically, if you guys are unfamiliar, is we are using a telescope to capture a lot of long exposures to stack, basically, to reduce the noise, improve the contrast of the signal, and to get better colors, more details. And that entails just taking as many exposures as we can for as long as we can to get as much time on the target. And that's really like the number one thing that determines your image quality in astro. It's always the dark skies, how dark you can get, how much exposure time you can get, and how fast your telescope is. Those are the three overarching things that matter in all parts of astrophotography, no matter how big your telescope is, no matter what it is. You always need those three things, and so that's what we're accomplishing out here, being in Bortle 1 and shooting at f2. Now, we just need to get as much time as possible, shooting as many exposures as we can, and then we should do well with our photo. That's the hope. Right now, I got a number of exposures last night. I think I got maybe 3 hours before clouds rolled in. All of tonight is supposed to be pretty good, though, so I'm kind of suffering right now from analysis paralysis with all the choices I have at hand in the night sky. I'm trying to decide what I want to spend the most time on, because the one struggle, again, with astro is picking targets, how many you can do. If you spread yourself too thin, you'll end up with a bunch of mediocre images instead of one great one. And I always prefer just the one great one over a bunch of mediocre ones. But there are a lot of very bright things out right now that I haven't shot in years that I would really love to hit at f2. So it's tough containing myself. This is Messier 101. Hello. But I do actually have another telescope here. That I could go ahead and run. I'm just going to queue it up to run some HA on the veil when the time comes, but this is my little ASI 183 in the corner. I have to go take the lens cap off of it. It's going to try to plate solve. Oh, one moment. Alright. The lens cap is free off the RedCat, so we'll start getting images off the RedCat soon. You're going to have a great time with the IFN from here because it's Bortle 1. It'll be very nice. I'm not an IFN guy, personally. I'm an emission nebula slash supernova remnant guy. Those are my favorite things, so I have yet to try IFN, but I'm certain it'll be pretty good out here as Bortle 1. Let's see what else we could look at tonight because I'm curious. Honestly, I barely have used the ASIair, so I haven't ever tried live stacking. I always do my stacking in PixInsight, so I haven't even considered live stacking as an option yet. I'm sure if it works, but I've never tried it. Got a lot of options. I don't know what I want to do here, guys. Last night I was running a little bit of this, and it looks pretty good. I wish I had gotten more time, though. The ASIair is, we're working on finding a solution for it, but the reason that the ASIair is not the greatest for remote is because in order to get your files off of the ASIair and to transfer it to you locally, you need a PC. And so if you have to send a PC anyways, you might as well just use the PC instead of also sending an ASIair. You know what I mean? It's kind of like it's a redundant issue that introduces extra possibilities for failure in the chain and makes things more difficult. than just using Nina in comparison. Yeah, the triangle is a cool one. Did my framing fit triangle? Who is Pickering, by the way? I've never actually looked into that. Yeah, I mean, so here's the thing, without a way to get the files off the SD card, the only way you could do it is if you were USB'd into a PC. So it's like if 20 people had ASIairs, do you get a server PC to have everyone USB'd into and then give everyone user access? Or, you see what I mean? It's just, since it requires a PC, it's kind of like you should just use the PC because otherwise it seems a little redundant to have a computer for your computer. And Nina operates like almost identically to ASIair. In some ways, it's easier to use. If you've used ASIair, you won't have any trouble with Nina. It'll be good. Oh, you can use a VPN server to transfer files. Ah, maybe I stand corrected. So if it is possible from network share, then maybe we can do it. We have a networking guy getting here tomorrow, so we will. I have my ASI here in person, so we'll attempt to answer these questions. Oh, our router can support VPN. Yeah, so we can do. We'll be able to do VPNs. So I guess if you can access files from network share, then we should be able to actually. But we're going to be trying to figure that out tomorrow and this week. I mean, ideally, we just want it to be like the minimum barrier to entry to be remote and to have access to dark skies. And if it can be done with the ASIair, then we definitely want it to be because we just want it to be easier. So stay tuned. We'll work on it. It might hit you up, Mike. All right, how many more frames do you guys think I need of M101 before we can do something interesting? Because I want to do a little bit of Rho. I don't know if ASIair will center after drift. That's a good question. Sweet, we are excited to get your telescope. Rho, yeah, I know, I just want to do Rho. I've had enough of M101. Also, you can see my tip tilt. This, after messing with it for about an hour and a half, I got my RASA pretty dialed in. So if you have a RASA, I highly recommend the photon cage. And my stars are also looking really great with the cable router. So I'm very happy with this. Everybody wants Rho. I also want Rho. We'll finish this last subframe and then We're gonna do a little Rho. It's got to be Rho. I'm curious to see what kind of reflections I get. Okay. I'm going to reframe the camera so that we can see the scope slewing. And then we're going to hit the Rho. You know what I mean? I have the meanest cable snag of my life forming. But isn't this awesome? This is it's so crazy to be able to live stream this. It's Rho time, everyone. It's my favorite time. If you guys are ready for Rho time, spam Rho in the chat. This is probably the sickest live stream I've ever done. Rho time. Let's make sure we get that framing good. Gotta get all the blue bits. I'm so bad at using the ASIair. I really just messed myself up. Alright, here we go. No. You should not wait to send your telescope if you're in building 2. Definitely send your telescope, no matter what. I mean, building 2 itself is equally as done as this building, so no matter where you are, we're ready to start getting scopes ASAP. Alright, let's see if we're in focus. This guy's got quite a bit of a mirror flop. I apologize if I just destroyed your ears. My Rasa is definitely a little bit out of collimation. You'll love to see it. Alright, now this is going to be the really exciting part because this should look pretty nutty. Man, I don't know what's going on. My autofocuser keeps moving itself. See what's going on here? It won't stop moving. Bruh. It just kept going all by itself. I've had a lot of weird random issues like that with ASIair stuff lately. Anyways, Rho Ophiuchi, for those of you who don't know, Rho Ophiuchi is up there. It's this little orange star up to my right at 45 degrees. You go across the Milky Way core, and then there's this little smoky traily bit that leads up to a little orange star. That star is Antares, and all wrapped around Antares is this really cool nebula complex that is called the Rho Ophiuchi molecular complex, but it's honestly probably the most beautiful part of the entire night sky because it just has like such an intricate web of nebulas and colors. It's really magnificent, and I don't think any other nebula that's broadband really compares to this one. It's just beautiful. So you will see what it looks like in a mere several seconds here. Take a little 5-second test exposure and see how she looks. But Rho Ophiuchi, interestingly, it's one of the closest objects to Earth. It's only 400 light years away, whereas like the rest of the Milky Way core area is thousands of light years away. So it's quite interesting where we perceive it as being above the Milky Way, but really it's way closer than the rest of it is. So you see Antares there is gonna saturate super duper quickly. So I think that before we get too far into it, I'm going to try taking a minute-long test exposure. What I'm worried about is this star is so bright, it's going to get blown out compared to the others really quickly, and I'm going to try a long exposure to get as much of this dark detail out here because there's a lot to be had, and we have the skies for it, but this star is going to get in my way. It's going to blow itself out really fast. Kind of like how my face is blown out right now. that star is going to blow out too. So we're going to take a minute-long test exposure and see where we sit. And I'm going to decide how I want to go about HDRing this thing. Because you can tell already that this star has just got a whole lot going on. And you can't have your cake and eat it too sometimes when it comes to dynamic range. You've got to, you just got to take the shorter exposures and the longer ones. So that's probably what's going to have to happen. But this minute-long exposure should contain a fair amount of signal. Yep. As you can see, quite a lot going on. And we're probably getting close to the blowout spot. So let's check the histogram and bring it all the way to the bottom, and you can see the core of this star is starting to become a little deep fried. And we don't want to deep fry that too much, so we might be smart in doing a couple short exposures. So let's go ahead and set up our... We're going to set up our auto run. And what we're going to do is we're going to take a couple of 10-second exposures. Maybe we'll do 20 of these, and that will fill in our stars, at least that one bright star. And then we're going to take a bunch of 2-minute exposures, and we're going to do that just for the nebula, and this should give us the best of both worlds. So let's go ahead and let her rip. I'm really excited to edit this because Rho is going to be like by far the most beautiful thing. It's probably going to be our banner image for our website. Once we have a nice Rho, it's really hard to do any better. But you can also see my raw sun where it's pointed. It's looking straight off at it. But man, it's a perfect night out here. It's a good one. And I'm going to be up literally all night. The one thing I love about this little autofocus routine in the ASIair is that it doesn't get hit by backlash at all, because it does the focusing curve and then it comes backwards towards it. And I wish more PC automation programs had that built in, to where you don't need to calculate the backlash of your focuser and it just works. Basically, the gears on the focuser, they're not perfect, so going inwards and outwards, there's a little bit of lag time in between, a little bit of dead space, and that dead space can completely ruin a focus run. And the ASIair method just totally solves it. So we're going to get these little HDR exposures out of the way pretty quickly, and then we'll be full into the juicy details. And what I want to do is come in super close to the star and make sure that we can get closer to the core without it clipping very badly. So here the core is definitely a bit saturated, but I can at least get it to a pretty small star shape. It's going to be very difficult to really get that star small. I think 10-second exposures honestly still might be too much for the HDR purposes, but we're trying out here. Yeah, Rho is amazing. We're at 31 degrees latitude here, so it gets pretty far up there. You'd have to drive like 12 hours to get a sky like this, or you could ship your telescope here. Think about that. Where I grew up in North Phoenix, I was probably only an hour and a half drive at most from getting skies that were almost as good as this. And being in Arizona is a super duper privilege. Man, not everyone lives in Arizona, so not everyone gets that awesome sky privilege. And that was kind of the whole point of this project, was to help improve. It looks like my auto guider is losing its mind. Hello, telescope, are you okay? My telescope is not tracking, that's great. You love to see it. That's the Ioptron mount for you all. I'm going to try and rematch my framing as best as I can to where it was. It looks like Antares is just up and off the middle. And we are getting more towards the bottom half. So it should be right here. Let's hope my track is on this time and we can actually get an exposure. That does not look right. Alright, we're going to have to start fresh on that row sequence. Thank you. Thank you to Ioptron. Where's the Mighty? The Mighty is in another observatory.